Hi guys, for today's video, I'm actually going to be doing a Storytime video. The other night, I found myself watching Storytime videos for over an hour. They're just so interesting. And I was like, I wish my life was cool and I had like some sort of cool story to tell. And then I remembered something that happened over a year ago that I was going to talk about and like make a video about it. But because it was like so like heavily televised, it was all over the news, I couldn't make a video about it because obviously for safety reasons, I didn't want you guys to know where I lived, and you guys could have like narrowed it down to my exact street, and that was just kind of scary to me. So it is now a year later and I no longer live there, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna tell this story because it was seriously super crazy and I think you guys would like it. So this happened during the summertime and I was home alone, and I remember I was waiting for my friends to come over. Me and some of my best friends were going out to someone's birthday dinner that night. So I was like, okay, Nastazsa, you cannot be the last one ready because I'm always that friend that's the last person to get ready. So I hopped in the shower, and about a couple minutes into my shower, I thought I heard gunshots. But I was like, those aren't gunshots, like you're being paranoid. At that time, I tended to always be paranoid because I live by myself, and yeah, I just, basically, long story short, I was always like paranoid that like something was gonna happen. I don't know, it's kind of scary living alone, and I lived in like a pretty big house just by myself, and yeah, it wasn't a fun time. So I was like, okay, Nastazsa, like you're crazy, you didn't hear gunshots. Like I completely talked myself out of it. I tell myself that maybe something fell down, you know, anything. And then I'm also like, and exactly how would you know what like gunshots sound like? That's basically what I told myself. So I get out of the shower, I get ready, everything's fine. My friend gets there. My friend's like, your entire street is like caution taped off. Like I had to tell the cop where I was going, and I'm like, no way. And at this time I don't remember like having heard the gunshots and like talk myself out of it. I'm kind of just like in that actual moment. And me, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like, I want to know what happened. I mean, wouldn't you? Like, if your entire street is like caution taped off and there's like all these cops. So me and all of my friends, we get into my car and we drive around. And I like have never seen anything like that in person. There's just caution tape everywhere. There's detectives, there's cops, there's an ambulance, there's the ambulance, and then there's also a fire truck. So I'm like, okay, like, what exactly is going on? And because this is like literally where I live, I wanted to ask. So I asked one of the cops, and I'm like, can you like explain to me like what happened? And he's like, well, like, where are you going? And I was like, well, I actually like live here. Like I live 2 houses down, like what happened? And he basically told me that he couldn't give me any details, but that there had been a fatality. And I was like, okay, this is super scary, like someone died on my street. So I had seen one of the neighbors, and at the time, one of the neighbors told me like, oh, I think like he was arguing with his wife and like he killed her. That was like the story that I heard. So, I mean, at this point, we've kind of taken a lot of time to like go be nosy and stuff, and we still needed to get to my friend's birthday dinner. So we go to the birthday dinner, and I'm just thinking about it the entire time. I remember I called my mom, and I'm like, I told her like how they had thought like the neighbor maybe killed his wife or whatever. My mom's like, you need to be careful, like don't do any more investigating, stay inside. So we get back from my friend's birthday dinner, and I'm like paranoid the entire night because I don't know anything. I don't know if they caught the person. Like, I don't really know any details, and there's like nothing really like developed onto the news at this point. So even like looking on Google or anything, and I don't want to deal with that crime scene anymore. So I'm just like, literally, I feel like I didn't really sleep that night. I was just like super paranoid. So the next morning when I wake up, I go outside, and my entire street, I kid you not, is like lined up with every single news station like all along my street. And I didn't really want to go outside either because I had no idea what happened, and I really had nothing that I could say, and I didn't want them to ask me to like say anything because I was still like super paranoid at this point. So that day I did learn that basically what happened is 2 people, a man and a woman, tried to rob my neighbor. And this wasn't the first time that they had tried to rob him. So since he was so elderly, he was like in his 80s, I believe, he just went out and got a gun. So because they kept coming back to his house. Like they knew that he was elderly and that they could get away with it. And so each time they would just go back to his house and get more things. Like I assume like he had like a ton of nice stuff, and then on top of it like collectibles that they were getting. So what happened is they actually beat this man up, and he was able to get up, and he chased them into the alley, where the woman said, "Please don't shoot me, I'm pregnant." And he still shot her, and when he shot her, he actually killed her. At this time, the man, like her accomplice that was with her, they hadn't found him or anything, but that's like all I knew. So a couple of days pass and everything kind of like calms down on my street. You know, there's not so many like news people there. I'm starting to feel a little bit safer. It was scary just to know that there were like robberies going on like where I lived, and because I did live alone, like I was like freaked out for a little while. But after like a few days passed, they released the photo of the man and the woman because they had caught the man, and of course the woman was dead. And by the way, she was not pregnant. I guess because they had been doing this so long, like her like initial like reaction to him going to shoot her was say that she was pregnant, hoping that he wouldn't shoot her, but he still did. The woman, the photo of her was so familiar to me, and I'm like, I know this woman. How do I know her? Okay. A couple months before all of this happened, I was sitting in the room that was like my office. And you know when you're just sitting in there and you can, sitting somewhere or standing somewhere, and you can feel like someone's either really close to you or like you can just feel that like someone's there that's not supposed to be there. So I look out my window and I see this woman, and she has a huge like pocket knife kind of thing, and she's cutting open my packages. Keep in mind I had like a gate, so when packages were delivered, sometimes they wouldn't throw my package over the gate, they would put it in front. So she literally has this like knife, pocket knife, going to open my package. Now I will say that I should not have done this, but because at the time there was someone else at my house, I felt, I don't know, well, I don't think I would have done this if I was alone, but I literally ran downstairs, I opened the door, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she literally dropped my package and ran away, and she didn't actually steal anything, but I did call the cops, and there was a police report of all of that happening. But I just think it's so crazy, like, this same woman had tried to rob me, was like robbing my neighbors, so come to find out she was basically just robbing everyone in the neighborhood. But yeah, my other neighbor didn't take it as well as I did and didn't just let it go. He was pretty upset. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story time. I know it's like something that's super crazy that happened. If you guys want to see more story time videos, let me know, although I can't really think of anything else off of the top of my head that has happened, but who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow or the next day. So if you guys like these videos, you can give this video a thumbs up, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!